And we're back to factoring more trinomials. And again, trinomial just simply means three terms. So here we're going to be doing some special trinomials. So for instance, we're going to be doing trinomials which have a coefficient that's greater than 1. So for instance, 3x squared minus 5x plus 2. These are trinomials that cannot be reduced in any form. I know we've done some where we could divide each term by a number and get just a coefficient of 1 for the x squared, but all the ones that we'll be dealing with today will have a coefficient that's greater than 1 for x, which makes them a little unique to do. So let's try our first problem. We're going to do 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. So first of all, let's look at what we have here. For the leading term, we have 2x squared. The only thing that we can multiply to get 2x squared would be 2x and x. Here we have 3, which is prime. The only thing that we can multiply to get a 3 would be 3 and 1. So if we look at the sign here, it's positive. A positive sign means that it's going to be the same sign when we factor. If we look at the middle term, we see that it's positive, so that means we're going to have a double positive. Now, what we're going to do here is a special unique way that I learned the other day of how to figure this out. So we have 2x and x, and we have 3 and 1. So both of the signs are going to be positive. So here we would do 2x times 1 gives you 2x, and x times 3 gives you 3x. This is equal to 5x. Well, 5x does not match our middle term, so that means that we need to switch the numbers around. So we're going to erase this, and we're going to make this a plus 1 and this one a plus 3. So now we have 2x times 3 is equal to 6x, and x times 1 is equal to plus x, which is equal to 7x. This one now matches our middle term. So now we have what we need to complete our factor. So here we have 2x plus 1 and x plus 3, and this will be our factors. 2x plus 1 times x plus 3. If we factor this back out, we'll get the same thing that we started with. And I'll show you real quick, just for this one. 2x times x gives us 2x squared. 2x times 3x gives us 6x. 1 times x gives us x. And 1 times 3 gives us a positive 3. We can combine the terms in the middle, so we get 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. So let's try another one. Here we have 3y squared plus 14y minus 5. So we look at the first term here. We have 3y squared. The only thing that we can multiply to get 3y squared would be 3y times y. For 5, lucky us, it's a prime. The only thing we can multiply is 5 times 1. Now we look at the sign is negative. Since the sign is negative, that means that it's going to be opposite signs. We look at the middle sign, and that means that the larger is going to be positive. And this one means the larger one that we multiply. So we have 3y, and we have y. And we know the signs will be positive and negative, opposite signs. So here we will have 1, and here we will have 5. So we're going to multiply 3y times 5. Negative 5 will give us negative 15y. And y times positive 1 will give us plus y. Well, this is equal to negative 14y. But we want it to be positive, which means we have to change the signs. If we change the signs, this becomes negative, this becomes positive. 3y times 5 is now positive 15y. And y times negative 1 becomes negative y, which gives us a positive 14y, exactly what we have in the middle. So now these are our terms, our two factors. So this will give us 3y minus 1 and y plus 5. And if you FOIL it back, I assure you, you will get the same expression that you started with. Let's try one last one. We'll make it a doozy. This is a special one. So we have 15x squared minus 79x minus 34. This one might take a little bit of strategy. So none of these are prime. If we look at 15x squared, there's a couple things that we can multiply to get 15x squared. There's 1x and 15x, which we could multiply to get 15x squared. Or, what I would probably start with would be 3x and 5x to get 15x squared. We can try either one, but we know those are our options. Now we have 34. So 34 has one option. The least one I would use would be 1 and 34. 34 is divisible by 2. So you can also use 2 and 17. Here, if we look at the sign, this is negative, so that tells us it's going to be opposite signs. And if we look at the middle term, we want to end up with negative 79. So now let's work with some numbers. We'll start with 3x and 5x. And 2 and 17. And I'm just going to put our signs here, opposite signs. If we multiply 3 times negative 17, that gives us negative 51x. If we multiply 5x times 2, that gives us positive 10x, which is not equal to 79. So let's try to switch around the numbers. Needs to be bigger. Keep our plus and minus. So let's try 17 here and 2 here. 3x times negative 2 will give us a negative 6x. And 5x times 17 will give us 85, positive 85. And I think we have it. Positive 85 minus 6x is equal to negative 79x. So we have our factors. Our solution is 3x plus 17 and 5x minus 2.